It's a chilly one this morning. Day 3. Wow. What a night. Went and stayed in an air last night in a small little town called Ablain-Saint-Nazaire, and yeah, it was €10 for the night. It was just me here, and oh my god, it was just blissful. So quiet, couldn't hear a thing. The occasional bell toll from the church, occasional dog, no sound of traffic, nothing. It's sort of at the back end of the town, and there's like a playground behind me and a little sort of, I think it's like a sports stadium or something up here, but there's no passing traffic. It's just a tiny little narrow road, and it was just brilliant, and I slept so well. And I woke up this morning and it's cold, there's frost on the ground, there's frost on the roof, but as you can see, the old currant bun is out. Oh, it's gorgeous. So, just warming up the old van. I've made myself a coffee this morning. Don't know what it's like, I haven't tasted it yet. God, look at the steam coming off that. Ooh, that's gonna burn my mouth. Oh yeah, nice cup of Joe in the morning. That ain't gonna go in the fucking thing, is it? Oh. Anyway, I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do these little morning to camera morning ones. So yeah, you're going to get a sleepy Rob, but it's the best way because I'm so frantic in a day finding things and looking for things and everything like that, and then when I get back to the van in the evening, I'm then taking the batteries out of the cameras, charging them, taking the SD cards and transferring all the data onto the laptop, and then I'm making a list. This is what I decided to do. So because the thing I did to camera yesterday, I forgot some things, so I thought, right, what I'll do is I'll write it all down, and then this is helpful for me when I get to edit all of this. God knows when I'm going to do this, you know, who knows. So yesterday we woke up and there was this little New Zealand sign called Niga Tapaway, and that was really beautiful actually. The detail in that particular sign, the way they'd got the fern leaf but with the leaves being the soldiers, I thought was beautiful. Only small thing, but it was really cool. And then we did Tyncott, the British cemetery, which was just stunning. And I got the drone out for that, but for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, but the drone just shut the bed, and I crashed it 3 times. It just, yeah, it was just playing up. I don't know what was wrong with it. And I was like, oh well, no drone footage for the rest of the trip. Anyway, did that, then went to Passendale Memorial Garden, which would have been nice to have had the drone because you don't see the detail as much, but basically they have one for all of the countries that were involved to an extent, and sort of gardens made for it. But obviously when you look from above, the sort of shape of the gardens I think are sort of like the petals of poppies. But it was beautiful there. It was really quiet, loads of people, you know, when people love running and jogging and just going for walks, and people walking their dogs, and the birds were singing, and it was glorious, it really was. And then went from there to the Scottish Memorial, and there was some people from the UK there, definitely some Scottish people, funny that, and that was really nice. Really beautifully done again, and I love that I've seen it a few times now, the silhouettes of statues, you know, the soldiers, but silhouetted in, I don't know what it is, steel, or whether it is sort of brown metal, but it looks incredible. Then went into Ypres, or Leper, or Lipa, whatever the Belgian pronunciation is, and went through the Menenpoort Gate, and then went into in Flanders Fields Museum, and that was incredible. That was so good actually, that museum, sort of done in a very sort of contemporary way, but loved it. Really good. And then got a chance to walk up to the belfry. Wished I'd had my Weetabix because I think it was over 250 steps up. I was knackered by the time I got to the top, but there's some really beautiful views from there, so that was nice, just something a bit different. And came down, called the Bedford House Cemetery on the edge, going south. Really, yeah, all these places, you know, are just so beautiful, you know, just the way they're designed, etc. I think there's I'm hoping to go and see it, maybe today actually, if I can remember to see it. There's a place where you can see the new Commonwealth Cemetery Committee, or whatever, I forget what they're called, but anyway, it's a place where they gather all of the information and the records and stuff, and they're the people that are constructing these burial sites. And yeah, it was beautiful. I then went to this place. Now, if I can pronounce this, and if I get this right, a Kit Kat for me. Spambruchmun Krater. which was basically up a hill, and it was an old, I think it was a depot dump, weapons dump, or weapons depot, and it a lot of tactics from the Allies were what they were doing. They were tunneling underneath and then basically laying mines, etc., and then blowing up these weapons dumps. And this one was a big one. There's an even bigger one that I'm hopefully going to see later on in this trip, like huge. But this was massive, and obviously blows everything up to Kingdom Come, leaving this enormous crater, and then that crater fills in, and then there becomes this beautiful pond. So it's incredible when you think of it, that something of such destruction, annihilation, that was kept there and then suddenly blown to smithereens, and then what is left, nature takes its course and leaves this beautiful pond with trees growing around it, and you're just like, yeah, 1-0 God, you know. Anyway, then from there I went to the I think it's the place, well, it's a Christmas Truce Memorial. Whether the actual game of football happened there or not, I really don't know, but I thought I'd have a little game of football. So Neo was in goal, and I sort of ran around like a loon with an invisible football. Things you do for content, eh? And from there we went to the Polarduck experience. That was quite cool, and that was actually just watching a film as to how and why World War I started was pretty interesting for me, because I had no idea. I mean, I knew, or I could remember about Ferdinand being assassinated, but it was a bit more than that as well. So that was cool. And then there was a memorial, another sort of memorial called Hyde Park Corner, where I think a lot of bodies had been moved to, and a memorial had been built to commemorate them. Then drove into France, so that was my Belgian bit over, and I really miss Belgium. And do you know what, I'm going to have to come back and do Belgium again, because yeah, it was really nice. I loved the roads, the people, the food, everything about it was just so awesome. I loved it. It was really cool. In case you've not noticed, I'm now in France, and the roads have changed, like, quite significantly, and yeah, the infrastructure, everything, very different. So yes, now I have to brush up on my French. Je m'appelle Rob. J'habite in une van. Bonjour. So We're going to the last place on the first leg. So we've done all of Belgium. We are now officially in France, and the bulk of this journey is now going to be throughout the whole of France. And, we crossed over the border into France, went into Armentières, which was a bit of a chaff town, to be honest with you. I was like, oh, here we go. But we got out of Dodge City pretty quickly, and then went to Fromelles. And Fromelles, there was a museum, and then there was a bunch of monuments, Australian monument, a bunch of cemeteries, and that was really nice. And that was the end of stage 1, or leg 1. So it was kind of a bit of a landmark thing. Right, so yeah, we've just done the first leg. We started it yesterday. I got probably about a third of the way through sites, etc. And we carried on doing all the various bits and seeing all of the particular things that I wanted to see. And we've reached the 10th waypoint on that particular leg. So it is 4:20. I'm going to start the next leg. I think it sort of seems crazy not to. Still a bit of daylight. In fact, it looks like the sun's trying to break through. I can see a tiny bit of blue sky up there. So yeah, so we've ended in a place called Fromelles, and I spent more time here than I expected, but it was worth it. There was a place called Musée de la Bataille de Fromelles. There was a very famous statue, an Australian tribute, and yeah, thousands of Australians and British lost their lives here. And there's various cemeteries, or a few cemeteries, a really beautiful one actually, surrounded by water. It's gorgeous. And so now we're going to head for a place, let me find it for you, called Neuve-Chapelle. And then that will be the beginning town or village of our second stage. There's a Portuguese monument that I'm going to go and see, and then there's a small little town by the looks of it that has some shops, so I might just go there. Oh yeah, I can see a Carrefour somewhere over there. So far that will get me at stage, what point would that be? That would be point B and then point C. And yeah, and then sort of carry on for a bit, and then if I can do like the first sort of 2 or 3 waypoints in this next leg, brilliant, get ahead. But bearing in mind where I am now, this is where I would technically be stopping on today, on the Sunday, so it doesn't really matter. If I can carry on a little bit just to get ahead would be really good. It's been fantastic so far. The things I've seen in Belgium has really impressed me actually. Amazing to drive around. But today's been a good day. The weather yesterday was atrocious. It rained all day and it was horrible. Whereas today it's been very cold, really bitter, but it hasn't rained. And I hope it stays like that for the rest of this trip, because yeah, the rain does make it really difficult. And it's amazing when you see it and you look at all the places, looking at trenches and looking at the lines of where the battles were happening and everything like that, and you're walking around and yeah, there's a lot of mud. So imagining what it was like for the guys. I mean, I went to see a bomb crater, which was sort of now a pond, and it was very beautiful, very peaceful. But oh my god, the mud round there, and it just kind of got you into thinking, what was it like, these guys, especially in the uniforms that they got. I mean, you know, they don't wear the synthetics and the stuff that we've got these days, and oh, it must have been absolutely awful, being cold and wet, and oh, I can't imagine what these guys were going through. I really can't imagine it. It's horrible. So anyway, that's the end of the first leg. 1 out of 8 done. 7 more to go, and all of them now are all in France. So we're in a park called the Nord de Calais, I think it is, this particular region. And yeah, we'll see where we get, and see what the rest of today and tomorrow brings, eh? We just carried on into leg 2, and we did the Portuguese monument, the Indian monument. This was, I think, at a place called Neuve-Chapelle, and they were beautiful, especially the Indian one was stunning. Really, really beautiful architecture, and the way they'd sort of taken hints of India and everything. I thought that was just really, really nicely done. Passed through a little town called Basset, another place called Auchy-les-Mines or Mines. Went through Mazingarbe, went through another little village called Bully-les-Mines or Bully-les-Mines. I'm sorry, I'm hacking this to pieces, the pronunciation. And everywhere, all through these little things, little sort of town halls or Hotel de Villes, all sorts of little interesting bits of architecture that I tried to sort of get a bit of footage of, and you know, and then you'd always be passing a monument or something, and some, you know, one would catch your eye. There was one, I forget which town it was in actually, but it really caught my eye, so I had to stop and get some, you know, of this soldier sort of reaching up to the heavens with, I presume, I don't know, I only kind of would presume he was like a messenger, and he was reaching up with the message in his hand, but it was just really just amazing to see. And then we capped it all up with Notre Dame de Lorette, which is a huge French memorial, which is literally just up the hill from where I'm staying now, and it was beautiful up there. Amazing views. In fact, from there I could see Vimy, I think, which is where I'm off to now, which is the huge Canadian monument, and the one that I've been really looking forward to go and see. You could see that in the distance, but it was just incredible up there. It was closed, but I thought I'd give the drone a go again, and it worked, and it was fine. So got some really nice drone footage, and yeah, it was just beautiful. And I was tempted to stay there. Park for Night had the 2 car parks up there as part of Park for Night, but I kind of have the feeling that's one of those places where lovers go up to as well, or chavs might go up to, sort of like have a spliff and everything like that, or play music or whatever. And so I thought it could potentially be noisy, so I found this air, and I'm so glad I went for this. €10, you know, it's a steal really, and it's a bit of money into the community, which I have no objections about. So big day today. So first place is Vimy, and then we're going to go down to Arras and keep on going down. I'm going to try and do all of this leg. So this is officially the second leg. I'm already, how many stages? I'm already about 3 or 4 waypoints into it, so I should be able to complete this second leg. And the idea is, what I want to try and do is try and get into the next leg a little bit ahead of time if possible, because I want to make a bit of room closer to the Swiss border as best as possible. So sun is out, blue sky, hopefully get some really nice footage. A lot of the footage to date has all been quite grey and austere, but anyway, we'll see if we get some nice stuff. So we'll catch you on the flip side. See ya.